Zoom or on YouTube. So give me one moment.
Okay. Oh, we do have a bunch of people on. And okay. We have Russell on, Sochima, Gail, and Kensia. We'll bring her over a little later.
All right, we're up.
We're good?
Yep.
Okay, so folks, welcome to the August 13th meeting of the Public Safety Committee. We are going to do public comment first, so if you'd like to speak with us, please raise your hand and we'll move you over to a panelist. And I see Russell has raised his hand.
Hello all.
I hope you weren't sitting in that same chair all day.
No, back home. So that was at the office before.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, thanks for taking the time to include me on this meeting. I appreciate it. I don't know, sure if everybody's aware, I would like Vespa parking at the train station. Hi, Dean.
Hey, neighbor.
Hey,
You're
bud.
back.
I'm back and I'm not going to leave. Anyway, I sent notes to, I'm not sure who I sent it to the town council, and received a ticket down in the train station for parking, a place I've parked for the past 6 years, along with other Vespa and scooter riders. A little bit of a surprise. And then they said I should petition the town council for some type of solution to this. They found out in this morning's meeting that but the New Jersey Transit really said they can't do anything, or at least they're not doing anything at this point about moving bicycle lockers. So I'm hoping that you guys allow me, at least as an interim solution till something's worked out, where I'm not taking a parking space per scooter, because I think that would be a waste of parking downtown. And allow me to continue parking and let the police department know that it's okay to park there. So,
So do you have the photos that?
yeah,
Can you share that photo of where you park now?
yeah. Let me just shrink my view here and make sure I'm going to share the right things. Hold on. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
And Patrick, the mayor needs to be moved over.
Share. There we go. Okay, so this is not downtown. This is Europe. I was traveling this past summer, and there's scooters all over the place. And I saw this as some solution where they take up one parking spot. They could probably fit 4 Vespas there at one parking spot. I just sent this to Vic DeLuca as an example. This is my Vespa where I park at the train station. This is on the town side of the train station, not the park side of the train station. This is right outside the area of where you go downstairs to get on the underpass to get to the center track. This is a wider shot of that, so you can see it from the parking lot. And this is a little tighter, it's another perspective. There are the bikes. I try not to park where the bikes park. Sometimes there's Vespas to the right of me. Sometimes there's Vespas over here. You know, there's about 5 or so Vespas that frequent this. I'm not saying they're all there at the same time. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it depends on the weather. Depends on, I don't know, how many people are going to drive it. I'm there like about 3 days a week. At least I try to be. And that's kind of it. So I'm just trying to either, you know, if there's no solution for me to park there, I don't really find that I'm very intrusive to the situation here where I'm in the way. No one's going to be hanging where I park that thing. And I've been doing it for the past 6 years. Just got a ticket out of the blue. And then so here I am after 2 months of trying to make something happen.
Okay.
Basically.
So Chief Sally, this morning we discussed this at Engineering and Public Works and Planning Committee. And Mr. Kittner has been tasked with working on some solutions. He was not able to get to it since our last meeting. In the interim, what we'd like to do is to just temporarily allow these scooters to park here under the overhang until we can figure out some other type of solution. And we don't want them to get tickets.
Okay, yep, I'm writing it down. I'm just writing.
Okay.
Okay, and on the side.
Yeah, on the town side.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying I'm the only person, you know, I'm speaking up. I'm not sure if anybody else has spoken up. And I'm not sure what the needs on the other side of the train station, but this is where I'm from. This is the, you know, I don't want to be, you know, the only person, like, but there's other people that do this, and I don't know about the other side of the train station.
Okay, well, let's solve what we know, and that's
Fine.
that we'll have a grace period for you and any of the other people who are parking there to park there while we work on some other types of solutions, possibilities. We may end up making that permanent, but at least the chief can put out a notice not to give out tickets.
Vic, I feel like we can figure something out here, to be sure. I mean, there's space, and we just need to like make sure we're compliant with, you know, DOT regs and all the other kinds of things with regard to, obviously for ADA compliance, but just feels like we have space, which is unusual for us to have. So, you know, I think we can figure something out.
Well, let's hopefully that Paul Kittner will be able to come back with some suggestions. He'll look at all that.
Yeah.
So are we leaving it as I can actually park there, or am I waiting on a decision?
No, chief, he can park there, right? You'll put out a notice?
Yeah, yes, temporarily till we figure out the proper place to park. Correct.
And the town council has my email as well. So
Yep.
if you want to inform me of any changes or
Yep, we're good.
updates or,
We know how to get you.
okay, great. Listen, I
Or you
appreciate
can
it.
just come to every meeting.
Yeah.
Well,
Stick around if you want. We got
Yeah.
a
No,
lot
I,
to
you
do.
know, I know, I stayed in for this morning's meeting, and I was very taken aback by some of the comments, and I appreciate you guys are you know, not from you, from the public, and you know, you guys put yourself out there, and I appreciate all you do. So thank you very much. And I know Dean personally, and
We won't hold that against you, don't worry.
no, no, but you guys do a lot for the town, and I'm maybe unsung heroes. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys.
Good to see you, Russ.
Okay,
Thanks.
so Chima,
Okay, hello, can you guys hear me?
we can hear you.
Okay, I'm back. I was at the meeting earlier this morning, discussing the town's ordinance with the overnight parking. The same thing that I was saying earlier, it's just very difficult, especially for people that live in two-family homes, to coordinate parking, especially if multiple people live in a house and they all have cars and you just have a one straight driveway. It's very inconvenient. It causes a lot of problems, actually, at least in my house. I know the town opened certain parking lots for parking, but like I stated previously, sometimes I get off of work during those late hours, and I personally don't feel comfortable walking from the lot to my house versus just being able to park in front of my house. I think it's easier, it's more convenient. So I was just saying, in terms of getting rid of the ordinance or just allowing certain people to receive permits to park in front of their house.
So, Chief, we discussed this morning a bit, and there was a question of if you could just spell out from your perspective, you know, your view on the overnight parking.
Yes, I think the overnight parking should continue. I think the reasoning for that
I mean, the
is-
prohibition, right?
What's that?
The prohibition of overnight parking.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so correct. So and the reasoning for that is It does assist us as far as law enforcement. We do get a lot of complaints about vehicles parked and not moving for several nights at a time. It allows us to make the correction of any abandoned vehicles. Also, it's assist us with different complaints we get, loitering, noise complaints, and different types of complaints we get. Assist us to be able to move that vehicle, or if that vehicle is obstructing traffic. A lot, for different things we need to move vehicles for weather conditions, emergency, state of emergencies. Also, a lot of quality of life issues. Also, so we get a lot of complaints about. But we do accommodate a lot as well for parking. I don't know if the extra parking spaces or parking lots assist, or if there's some way to do more for residents to receive more permits that are residents, but it does assist us to enforce overnight parking as a police department.
Could I ask a question, Vic? So that so something like in this case, it's a dead end right by Maple Crest Park, Boyden Parkway South.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering if there are instances that, I mean, and as Vic said this morning, it's a much bigger conversation. We have a lot to consider townwide, and then the parameters by which we might permit on-street parking overnight, right? So that's all the stuff we need to dig into if we want to pursue this as a possibility. But I'm asking you as the chief of police what you think about a car that's permitted on a dead end by Maple Crest Park as opposed to in other areas of town. Is there a difference in your mind of the public safety issue with that versus other areas of town?
Well, my thing is the permit. If somebody receives a permit from their house, I mean, I don't see an issue with that. It's just the town-wide parking anywhere you want to, loitering and leaving your vehicle there for, almost. I mean, we see cars that are abandoned; they're just parked there, and a lot of times we want to know that unless we check those areas for overnight parking. So those are the ones we're really focusing on and concerned about.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, if I was to get a permit, I should only be allowed to just park in front of my house. Obviously, I wouldn't want to park in front of my neighbor's house unless they give me that permission. And then it's like, while you guys are patrolling, I know you guys are able to run people's plates and see that they live in that house and match the car to that house. So that's why I'm kind of confused on why residents wouldn't even be allowed to park in front of their house.
Deborah?
Yeah, I'll just elaborate. I think the question for you that I have for you, Chief, is would you be okay with these instances where we're in neighborhoods that have a lot of multifamily houses being able to issue permits so that people can park on the street? Because I do believe, having lived over there, it is a hardship and it is really hard. And so I'm for kind of easing up some of the overnight parking restrictions. I understand from a public safety perspective why, but if we did issue permits in certain areas, well-defined, like the mayor said, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so the permit is not my problem. The permit, the getting rid of the whole town not having overnight parking is my problem. So we give permits out to certain locations and to certain residents. I have no problem with that. It's just, I don't think the whole town should be banned from people should not be able to park anywhere they want to all over town. And we get those cases.
Yeah, I don't think that's I think what we're asking is because if we set up a construct where we can permit some residents and deny others, the parameters is what we're gonna need to figure
Yeah.
out the
I
governing
would
body.
need, I would need to think about, I need to look into that. I want to give an answer right now about
Okay.
that.
Dean?
Thank you. So Chief, yeah, I don't think we're talking about a town-wide lifting at this point. I think, as you know, we've received a lot of pleas to look into this from people like this resident who's before us tonight, who live in multifamily housing and don't have, there's several cars in that house, and it's a constant struggle to do what I call the car choreography: who's getting in, who's getting out, and the challenging of schedules. This resident told us a little bit more about her situation earlier this morning in our Engineering Public Works Committee, where she also stated that she works really late. She has late shifts, right? And so while we've tried to solve this problem by making parking available in certain municipal lots that are near some of these multifamily zones, for someone like her, it would require her to walk through Maple Crest Park at like 2 a.m., right? In order to do that. And obviously she doesn't feel comfortable doing that. And I don't blame her, even when we have the new lights up and running in that park. So the idea is to, as the mayor said, to create some sort of construct. Nice word, by the way, Mayor. To create some sort of construct.
Not as fulsome. It's not as good as fulsome, but it's
to create some sort of thing that is really specifically tailored to these zones where folks are experiencing this, because this is a hardship for them. It really, talking about quality of life, their quality of life is diminished because of this on a daily basis. So that's what we're trying to do, and balance it against the concerns that you have, obviously, in terms of keeping the town safe.
So I'm going to ask Deborah to work with me and the chief and Patrick on coming up with some solutions on this. And I don't want to do it with a third township committee, because then we get into having everything public. So we will set up, I think, Dean, you recommended we set up a working group, and that's going to be our working group. We're going to keep it internal. We'll also put someone on for DPW, so we get their input. And I want to validate everything that's been said by the residents and other residents, but I also want us to understand that there are particular issues here. For example, on the corner of Jacoby Street and Boyden, we have, I believe it's about a 12-unit apartment building. Now, does that qualify? Because no parking at all. Do those tenants get to park on the street? And if they do, they're going to be parking in front of neighbors' houses. Do we just limit this to two-family zones, or do we do it, throughout a larger area of town? So those are things to work on. What happens, as the chief mentioned, right now we have some streets that are snow emergency streets. For example, on Prospect, right around the corner from me, someone has a permit to park on the street because he has no driveway. He has to get his car off the street when it's snow emergency. We've heard a lot from our DPW that some of the narrow streets in like Menzel and Jacoby and Hughes, they're very hard to plow when you have cars on those streets. So those are the things we have to think about. Certainly understand the issue. I think I said before, when I first started seeing Janie, she lived on Jacoby Street, one parking space. I had to park in Irvington and walk from Irvington to Maplewood, down 44th Street to Jacoby Street. I know this very well. In the snow, in the rain, dark at night, I understand this. So I think we have to do it. And so let's set up this group of folks and we'll work on it and bring something back to the next meeting.
Yeah, but aside from your, what I'd like more details about your,
My experience, no way.
yeah, your, but, I think, I think there's, I think this will have to, it's gonna be a deep dive of, parameters to be set so that not everybody can get,
Right.
like, and, like most things, it's gonna be a lot of discussion, and I appreciate you guys working on it. And
I think, yes, thank you. I think the other person that will have join us maybe for some of it, if not all of it, is our attorney. Because I think you said it, Mayor, whatever we come up with has to, it has to pass the smell test. So that it's just in family and friends get the passes and other people get denied. So, let us work on it and we'll try to come back with some ideas.
And I would just
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Patrick, I volunteered you, Chief? Okay.
I'm
I,
good.
I recommend that we also get some of the ideas that Sochima and others may have about this, because they
Yeah,
have.
we can reach out to them. I don't want to put them on the ground. I want to keep this internal. We can reach out and get their views.
Okay, and then when would be the next meeting?
A month from now.
Okay, on the same day?
Second Wednesday of the
Oh,
month.
both of those meetings are the second Wednesday. I think this is the meeting where we will really focus. It's the next meeting is
September
September
10th.
10th. Yes. But we have your email, right? Yeah,
I
we have a way to get back to you. So we will reach out to you. So
Yeah,
you'll be aware of what we're doing.
And Sochi, it's gonna take a little time, to be clear. But we are working on it. A lot of it is because of your advocacy, but it's because we've had other people asking for similar things. But it's really complicated, so it's gonna take a little while. So you may have to, tell your neighbors downstairs to move their cars once in a while.
Okay. Thank you. So we're going to move on to the next person that has their hand up. That's Gail.
There's a lot of people that I talked to that live in Maplewood, they complain about the same thing.
Okay. So Patrick, okay, thank you. Welcome, Gail. Patrick, are you moving back?
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can't see you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
There you go.
Hi. Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to follow up on an email exchange we had a few weeks ago now. I had sent, and I think it ended up kind of on a large group after a while, concerns about how essentially our residents and local police would end up interfacing with ICE in the case of any kinds of activity or raids that people are witnessing. And I had sent, that example where folks had seen ICE activity in their neighborhood in Massachusetts somewhere, and they'd called the police, and the police kind of kept everyone away, and it kind of turned into a bad scene for everyone. And they ended up arresting the resident who was like running after her mom who'd gotten stuffed into a van, things like that. And I think where it ended up was I was kind of more pointed in asking the question of, is it not within our power to have more an ordinance or a procedure that's formalized in how our police would interact with ICE in the case that like residents call and say, we don't know if they're ICE, we see these masked guys, they have like generic police, on their clothes, and they're doing something in town, and we call for help because we don't know what's going on, and how that would proceed so that we're not, as residents kind of in the situation of standing by, not being able to do anything, recognizing these may be federal agents, and that, you can't just stop what they're doing, but that there's things that can be done, identifying who they are, identifying if they have warrants for arresting people, checking what's happening if they're racial profiling people who are standing nearby, that kind of thing. Could all be something we're more prepared for as a town. And I mean, I recognize like there's been a lot of work done on Maplewood's a sanctuary city. There's been good work on this, and I feel like this is a good town that has kind of the idea of trying to protect these neighbors that we have, you know. So I kind of wanted more clarity on what's feasible here. I had a discussion with my neighbor who's Alexis Carterton. I think some people know her. She's a lawyer. And she said, you know, there may be legal issues with that, but I was kind of pushing her and saying, well, what specifically are those issues? And she said, well, I don't know, it's federal agents. So I was like, if there's an issue, like we should know about it and have a plan rather than kind of assuming there's going to be an issue and not move forward with it. So that's what I wanted to bring up and kind of come back to. I know it's been a few weeks.
Okay. Dean, you had your hand up?
I do. Thank you.
Your hand is up.
Yeah. Thank you, Gail. And so Gail, this is not a legal opinion by any means. In fact, the state attorney general has yet to issue guidance or a directive to municipalities across the state, especially to sanctuary municipalities like ours, which have formally committed to not engaging with, not assisting. And that also means, by the way, not interfering with these so-called federal agents, right? But what jurisdiction, what power do we have legally to require them to identify themselves, to require them to tell us when they're coming, to require them to show proof that when they are going after someone, a household, that they have a warrant or they have some, as we say in the legal business, prima facie evidence or some sort of standard to stop that person and ask them questions. And the answers to those questions are not much jurisdiction at the moment. But there is pending legislation in Trenton. It did not move forward, no surprise, very controversial. Did not move forward during the regular legislative session, but I hear that there's talk of it coming back during the lame duck, what we call lame duck. The state legislators are on break until November after the election. They're all up for re-election, both the assembly and the state right now, and they will reconvene officially in November for the remaining couple of months of this current administration. And one of the things that they will be discussing is a pending bill that would do exactly what you're recommending, which is to require identification, to require pre-notice. So, but there could be legal issues with that because these are federal agents and we're not exactly understand yet what power we have to supersede federal agents or to sort of require them to submit to local law enforcement directives. So that's where we are. We've taken your recommendation very seriously because we are concerned about it. We are a sanctuary town, right? So we care about this, absolutely 100. And I'm glad you're here again to talk about it. But that's where this issue stands. And I'm really glad that people in Trenton are looking into it. And I'm glad that AG Platkin, who, as you know, has been really, if there's anyone in New Jersey who's been fighting the current administration in DC, it's Matt Platkin singularly and consistently, if I might say. So, we need to get that directive, and we don't have that directive yet. But that's sort of what I know from the research that I've done since your emails.
Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to clarify my understanding, and Patrick and Chief, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, we're still following the AG's directive that we last had, along with our own resolution saying that we won't aid or assist the immigration, whatever ICE is doing, if they come to our town. Am I right?
Chief?
That's correct. And also, but like Mr. Daffis said, we won't interfere either. So.
Right. That's fair. But we passed a resolution January of 2017, prior to the president's first term in this.
Yes.
And then
and
the AG.
Yes, and the department has been trained in that. And also, if we need guidance, we contact the prosecutor's office. They have an assistant prosecutor that we can reach out to.
Sorry, just I think 2 questions then in follow-up. I mean, the legislation, is that the Immigrant Trust Act, or is that a different bill?
It's a different bill.
Okay, a newer one?
Yeah, it's a very recent. It kind of got put together, if I may say, haphazardly, right before the session came to a close. But it's specifically geared toward this issue of requiring identification and requiring notice.
So, I mean, it's a bit of time, and hopefully it seems like ICE is having trouble recruiting, but, you know, absent that kind of more formal a bill passing or guidance from the AG, I mean, if someone jumps out of a van right now, tomorrow, and the police happen to be on the scene and they say, I'm a federal agent, the police just have to believe them, or like what happens?
Chief?
Of course, we would vet them. We would respond and vet them to see what agency they are, and so we would identify them at that point.
And then so it's effectively, if they have a badge or something like that that identifies them, at that point you have to kind of step back.
Correct. We can't interfere.
Okay, and if a bill like this passes, that would just be a clearer version of the same thing, since we again still can't interfere.
Absent any guidance otherwise, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, we get our guidance from the Attorney General, so whatever the guidance is from the Attorney General, we follow.
Okay. If you happen to have the name of the bill or the sponsors of it, can you share it?
Most certainly, Gail. I'll email it to you. Include everyone else in that thread that we were all involved in.
Okay. And then is there further steps from the town that would happen if that passes, or is it you kind of take the guidance and or any more specificity that comes from that and apply it locally?
Yes, from the Attorney General's office.
Okay.
And the Essex County Prosecutor. We are under their directives.
Yeah, we can't supersede them.
Okay. And this is good. I mean, this is also going to run up against the governor's race, right? So how likely is the governor?
It'll be after the governor's race.
Okay.
The legislation will be in the lame duck session, which will be after the governor's race.
Okay. Okay, well, that gives some advocacy avenues, although I can see that taking a while. Okay, is there anything else happening around this locally that, you know, where discussions are taking place, or groups that are pushing for different sorts of things?
There are, and I think forgive me if I did not, and I thought that I did. It's happening a lot lately. Aging is not fun. I thought I circulated in that thread some presentations that local community action groups are doing, like Soma Justice, for instance, in getting out there, getting out to different organizations and to merchants, shop owners, and restaurants that may have undocumented or underdocumented folks as employees, getting information out there on how to what to do if this happens to them, if ICE shows up on their door, what not to do, what are people's rights, and so on and so forth, and sort of working with these different groups and sort of creating a community action plan that is apart and separate from law enforcement.
Okay. All right. So then it sounds like there's a fair waiting game going on, but there's some advocacy to be done. Is there any other gaps locally that need filling from your perspective around like safety around these issues?
Chief,
I mean, go ahead. Yeah, he's the public safety.
Chief?
So again, we follow the AG and the prosecutor's office. If ICE comes in and makes an arrest, we do not interfere. So that's our stance on it.
And they're not the only outside agency that comes in, right? State police comes in, FBI, drug enforcement come in. The
Correct.
difference is they usually notify you, correct? And you cooperate with them?
Correct. We have, sometimes even another municipality agency will come in, or or a federal agency, but most times give us a courtesy call what they're doing, and we usually don't participate. They make their investigation or maybe an arrest, and that's how it usually happens.
So you neither interfere nor participate, and that's similar with
Correct.
ICE, except ICE doesn't notify you, correct?
Correct.
And we're clear that we don't participate with ICE.
Correct.
All right. In terms of a gap, Gail, I would say that the information sourcing that's happening on the ground in the community through different groups should include, and I'm not sure at this moment if it does yet, it should include the school district, right? So that the district is providing some guidance to parents, right? Because we know that ICE, in the first Trump administration, there were some boundaries that they were honoring in terms of what the law calls sensitive areas, houses of worship, schools, the courts. These are sensitive areas. But this administration is not honoring even that. They're going into schools, they're going into child care centers, they're going into houses of worship and picking people up. So if there's
in New Jersey, the State Department of Education has instructed the schools on how to respond to ICE for school interventions. And so
Right.
I think our district follows that. So we have a lot more on our agenda. So Gail, we need to wrap it up. You have anything else?
No, thanks for
Okay.
looking into it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see who else we got here. Oh, we got more people? No, same people. Okay. And Kensia, we're gonna have you come on when we do the update from the community board on police. So I'm gonna move now to the uniform crime statistics and share the document. The document that Deborah likes.
I do. That's why I started smiling. It's my favorite part.
I know, I saw that. I saw that.
I looked good.
Here we go.
Woohoo.
All right, everybody can see this, I hope. Yes. Okay. So again, this is for the first 6 months of the year. And the only outlier, Chief, is robberies. You want to talk about any of this stuff? You're on mute. Maybe you don't want to talk about it.
I'm trying to get out of that. It seems like I've been talking about these same 5 robberies for the last couple of months, because it's pretty much the same ones. Nothing new really. It's juvenile related, known to each other. I wouldn't call a robbery a small crime, but it's kind of like I know the other person, I intimidated them, I took something from them. It's not like a normal street robbery where the person's not known. I think we have 3 clears out of the 5. The other 2, we're still trying to, we might have 1 identified, but not a charge yet. So those are the robberies, pretty much.
Okay.
And as you can see, the aggravated assaults are down. The burglaries are down, even though we still have a few that happened last month. Thefts are down, auto thefts are down, and as you see, all incidents are down from last year.
So I also included in the agenda some information about the violent crime statistics the FBI released nationwide from 23 to 24. So we did have a decrease in robbery from 23 to 24. You can see from 5 to 1. We bounced back up to 5, but that's in line with national trends. Aggravated assault, we were down from 9 to 8. That's also in line with the national trends. The burglary were up 14 to 21. That's sort of different. In burglaries were down about 9% nationwide. Thefts were up significantly, and that's different than what nationally it was down about 5%, and auto thefts were down, and that they were down nationally. So we kind of hit and miss on this. Some of them were down, some of them were up from 23 to 24 compared to national. Again, this is a 6-month, and the national figures are 12 months. So it may balance out, the rest of the year rather. So, but in general, from 24 to 25, we're down 28% in crime. So again, thank the officers for all they're doing. I think the shift change we made allows you to do a lot more in deployment, and I think we're seeing results here.
Yeah, and also last summer, a lot of work with the burglaries. So we had extra details, extra officers, detectives solving cases. So that assisted in getting that big reduction in burglaries.
Okay. Anything more on this?
I just have a question because we've gotten some uptick again, at least from emails of residents who were having the burglary, where they break in and take the keys and then take the car. There's a couple residents that seem like they were having repeat offenses, and it just as we so well went through the whole
You're fading out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Can you hear me now?
I thought you were using your inside voice, but you're outside, right?
I'm outside, and can you hear me?
It's barely.
No. Okay. I'll just say anything with the uptick that happened recently on burglary.
Yeah, so we've seen a few. However, some of them are not burglary style. Like we had probably 2 or 3 where they didn't try to enter the house. They tried to get the car and were unsuccessful and left. So we had about 3 of those. So where they actually didn't try the house, went to the car for whatever reason, noticed a video camera or however, and then took off. So we did see a few of those. But again, we have extra patrols in the area. Our detectives are working. They have gathered a lot of video, reviewing it and working with other agencies with trying to solve it. Solve some of these thefts and also the burglaries as well.
Anything else on this? If not, we'll move to the next stage here. And that's the traffic enforcement for the first 6 months. Again, moving violations, Chief, you have an increase here. Radars an increase. Warning notices increase. Vehicle stops increase. We kind of in June, we didn't get as many moving violations as the month before, but we're still better than a year ago. Radars, you see all these warning notices. We were down this month, this year, in June 25 to June 24. And then stops, we were also down in June 25 to June 24. So I don't know if you have anything you want to say about these, Chief?
Yeah, so I did speak to my traffic sergeant and my captain of patrol, showed them these numbers, and we are going to conduct more radar details. As we were talking about this, is how our numbers were going up. We kind of stopped the targeting details, and that has helped us. However, I want them to start doing. We're going to start doing more targeted radar details. In attempt for, because, you know, our number one complaint is, we get a lot of traffic complaints, but the number one complaint is speeding. So our traffic unit has been given an assignment to certain areas to conduct radar details. So we should see it, improvement in that.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments about these numbers? Did we meet your expectation, Ms. Engel?
You did. I love all the green.
Okay.
We have any information on pedestrians
What,
update? Like,
What is it?
you know, I thought that was one of the things we were looking at as well, like for pedestrian safety.
you mean
So
details, like crosswalk details?
Yeah, like keeping track of incidents.
Oh, no, I'm talking about something different. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry, pedestrian accidents? You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I can get you that data. Also, but we did receive a grant over the summer that we did do details on pedestrian safety, so I can get you those numbers as well. We had a grant when we did details on that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes.
Okay. Anything more on traffic enforcement? All right, overtime, Chief, we saw a decrease in hours and in pay. And what are you attributing that to?
Definitely the schedule. You know, so with the schedule, I mean, we still have the same amount of special events that are happening over the weekend that we need to fill. And we do have a lot of things going on. We need extra officers, but with the schedule, we just, it puts more officers on those days anyway. So we do have to give out overtime, but not as much as we did with the old schedule.
Okay. Anything on overtime for anyone? If not, let's go to the discussion item. So Chief, National Night Out, congratulations to your team. It was, we had, I think, the biggest crowd we ever had.
Nice crowd. Weather was great.
The weather was great, much better than many years ago when it was pouring.
Yes.
I think it was really nice the way it was laid out with the park. And, you know, to have pony rides and all those inflatables was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, congratulations,
Pony
Sergeant.
ride?
Pony rides, yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good job, Sergeant Reeves. He puts it together every year. Does a great job. Him and his team, the community unit, and the rest of the officers who participate. They do it. As they say to me, that's their Super Bowl. So they really get up for putting that together.
So one thing I noticed, Chief, and we're doing this actually for all events going forward, is accessibility. For example, the way you have the food that's down the hill, you have to walk down that hill. For some of our seniors and the mobility challenged residents, that's, you know, we want to think about that a little more. I did notice that though we really didn't have seating for elderly residents who might, you know, need to take a break and couldn't stand up the whole time. So that's something that in the, you know, next year, we're probably going to ask you to think more about that and come up with an accessibility plan. And we're, like I said, we're doing it with all events. Patrick has asked Liz in the event planning to make that an issue. Additionally, next year in 2026, Dehart Park will not be available because we're going to be rebuilding it. So you need an alternate site, and I would suggest you take a look at Maple Crest. keep it over, I think, on this, sort of the eastern side of town. I think it really gets a lot of walkability, a lot of folks coming out. So moving it to Maple Crest is not that far away, but I do think coming back to D Hart in 2027 would be good.
Okay.
Any other comments on this?
I would just add in handicap parking spots to the accessibility, but thanks for bringing that up, Mr. DeLuca.
Yeah,
Those are good points.
I think that's correct because, I think they block off a good number of spots in the parking lot for vehicles, police vehicles, fire vehicles, what have you. So, and the game trailer. So I think maybe designating a portion, maybe one of those parking bays for handicap parking would be a good idea. And that can all be part of the accessibility planning. Speaking of special needs, identification cards, Deputy Mayor.
Yes, Chief, this is a question that came up at our All Access Committee. Some of the parents who have older children said they had talked about, I guess, years back, they had been encouraged to get identification cards. I don't have a picture to show, but they held them up. And it's kind of like an ID card. And so they asked me if this was a program that the police department was still doing and what the status of it was. And I've been here, I haven't heard of it at all. So so this is something maybe for you to look into. I don't know if you already if you know about this program or have any update on it.
Program we've always done, but you're right. We got to promote it and put it out there a lot more than we have been. So yes, definitely.
So what is the program exactly? What is the how does it work?
Well, it's volunteer. You come if you want to come in and provide information about someone with special needs, so that if we do get a call, if we're responding to somewhere, we know that there's a person there with special needs. So that's pretty much gives us a identification information on that.
It would be connected to their home address, so you would know if you're going out to a call to that address.
Correct.
And then I guess what some of the individuals were saying was that I guess if you have somebody who is nonverbal, that they could show the card.
Right. And also when we pull up the information, we can inform our officers of that before prior to them responding.
And who is the officer? Is there is there an officer who is sort of the contact for this?
Well, Sergeant Reeves is ultimately in charge of everything, but we're kind of transitioning a few officers to different positions within that unit. But I would say Sergeant Reeves for now until I identify the officer who will dictate who will do the ID card.
Yeah, because we'll want to if that's something that that you're still doing and that you're continuing, then I think definitely getting information out to residents would be helpful. And I apologize that I don't know this, if there is a dedicated page on your site, that you could push people to get more information. So
yeah, we can.
Great. Thank you. I will take this information back.
All right. We talked about the scooters already. So gun safety ordinance. Chief, we just want to tee this up so that you're clear about what we're planning to do. We'll be having a final reading and vote on September 16th. Deputy Mayor, you want to say anything more about it?
Yeah, so I wanted to just go over, so specifically, this is a gun storage ordinance that requires residents to keep their guns locked when they're not in use. And my understanding, and I wanted to just hear some feedback from you, Chief. My understanding would be that this would come into play for you when you're responding to an incident. The incident could be in the home or in a public place that has to do with a firearm, whether the firearm is discharged or whether you know, I don't know if a firearm is found on a park bench, for example. Typically, I believe it would be in the home if there's an unintended discharge or a very sad, tragic discharge. And it would involve when you're going into the home already. I believe it also could involve a domestic violence call if you're going into the home. So I wanted to hear from you on how, because you wouldn't necessarily be going to people's homes to check if they have their guns stored. It would be if you're already called there.
Correct. If we have legal reason of being inside the home,
Exactly.
for it, even if it's like a welfare check, if we're walking in there for a welfare check and we see an unsecured firearm, that's where I see that where that would take place. Or like you said, a domestic or anything else. I mean, they will get the other criminal charges for that, but also they will get the town ordinance. Or it might not even be a criminal charge, like you said. We walk in, we see unsecured firearm,
Right.
and then they would get the ordinance for that, you know, for not having
Right.
the firearm properly secured.
Right. So as far as implementation, it would be one more thing that you would check when you go into the home, like you said,
Correct.
on a basis.
Correct.
Then the
Yeah,
second, yeah,
because the park, like, you know, find a firearm on a park bench, we might not necessarily know whose gun that is. So, you know, I
Right.
mean, you know, but unless we check it and then it's to a registered person, but you know, other than that, you know, so.
yeah, good point. So the second piece of that would be public communication. And I think the department does a really good job of pushing out communications. So this would be in that area of making sure that the public knows that the firearms must be secured, and then also telling people, reminding them about the free gun locks that the department does have. And I stopped by one of your recent coffees that the officers held, and they had the gun locks on the table, so they were sharing that information with residents there, which is great. But so the second piece would be the communication, is like making sure that people are aware.
Yeah, yeah. So when we hand out,
So
yeah, when we hand out the gun locks, we hand out a flyer, you know, saying the new ordinance with it. So.
oh, that would be great. Yes, I think that would be a great addition.
So are you going to be working with our communications folks so to help to come up with a baseline, and then you can provide that to the police, Deputy Mayor?
We can do that. We can come up with a fact
I think
sheet.
that's a good idea.
Yeah. And then we can both, you know, we can have our town communications work with the police, you know, and get it out in both areas.
Okay. And Chief, you need anything else on this, or you're set as soon as we?
No, good. You understood it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up is the proposed 10K race. And it's Deborah and Malia, you want to pitch in here?
Sure. So this was the Soma Fox Running Club had reached out to both me and Miss Engel about scheduling. They're looking to schedule a 10K race as kind of a signature race that they want to get going. And they're looking for maybe next March or March of 2027. They're kind of looking in advance. They were hoping to do a Soma, so like a two-town race. Maybe they could call it MAPSO, we'll see. But they wanted to incorporate both towns. So they don't have a route yet, and they had kind of reached out in the very, very preliminary stages to get some guidance on who they might work with in the police department and at the town level to work to schedule this. And they do want to do it both with Maplewood and South Orange. And so we thought we might just bring it to you and give you a heads up and see if you had any thoughts on, like, I'm not sure if I can think of any race off the top of my head that does cross both towns. So if you had any suggestions for where to even.
I'll just chime in. Previously, they tried to plan a race on Springfield Avenue in the Hilton neighborhood, and they worked with Chief Duvall, and they weren't able to do a course because of street closures and whatnot. So they reached out because they want to work with both Maplewood and South Orange to figure out what courses would be possibilities and how they would go about doing it. And they'd be partnering with another race production company We also talked about South Orange just approved their third phase of the Greenway to build their Greenway from like 3rd Street to Chisowitz. So we talked about it would be cool to utilize the Greenway if it's in March 2028 or whatnot. So I think the idea was who would be the best people from the PD for them to connect with to start brainstorming what could be possible and how to move forward.
Yeah, so with me, he'll be my traffic sergeant, so he can work with whoever from South Orange or the company who's running the race.
So could we just connect you on an email thread with them and then you can add him on, or do you want to send
Sure.
them?
Yeah, yes.
And Chief, do you have any like red flags, like things you want them to stay away from? Like, for example, Boyden Avenue would be, to me, I guess, would be off the list because of all the activity and the connectivity and the buses and everything.
Yeah.
Are there other streets like that?
I'd like them to be on Wyoming, but Valley's tough too, but but that connects us right. Well, Valley would be good because it connects us right to South Orange. Easily.
Prospect too. Prospect is
Prospect.
Prospect, I assume, is not a red flag. That's a word.
No. Yeah, that's
Did you say Wyoming was good or was not good? I didn't catch that.
Wyoming is good.
Good.
Wyoming, Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the other question is there an interest in trying to touch various parts of the town, or does that not matter?
That I didn't hear that from them.
Okay.
I think they're more focused
It may not end up being 2 towns. It could end up just being in one. They're just trying to get some ideas as they work out the route.
And are they looking generally to stay away from hills, or it doesn't matter either?
I don't think it matters.
I think they just want guidance about what routes they should be looking at and how to actually move forward with doing it and who the correct people are to talk with in the town.
Yeah, like if Springfield Avenue was difficult, yeah.
But I assume, how bunched are the groups? I guess it depends on what part of the race, right? In the beginning, they're kind of bunched and then it spreads out, right?
Yeah.
So, that's the difficulty with closing Springfield Avenue. It could be closed for a half hour or more.
Yeah, I don't think they want anything else over there right now.
Yeah, on like 4th of July, we don't close Ridgewood. We run along it with traffic going. So I think some of those specifics are what they're interested so that they can plan accordingly.
Yeah.
I recommend they submit an event planning request because I think this is going to touch more than just PD. And even though it's in their preliminary stages, I mean, if they can it helps us on our end track these things, even if they have a common name, contact information, brief description, where we can, in their words, not in ours, circulate it among the departments. Because I expect beyond PD, we're going to want to get engineering involved, right? If we talk about Prospect Street, and we're thinking about next year, us and South Orange may be doing construction. I think we'd like to get the fire department involved. So I think it makes sense for them to maybe do a somewhat more formal process, even with the information they have at this point, so that we can, I would envision us scheduling a meeting almost like we have an event planning meeting, just at a very early stage.
Yeah, I think so.
And so it's okay that they don't have a date. They can just submit that.
Yeah, just date, if they should include what they know. If they're thinking, if they say it's going to be in the springtime, we don't know if it's going to be 26 or 27. I mean, any of that information is helpful. The nice thing about that form, and while it doesn't fit neatly for what you're talking about, that gets circulated among all the departments. Everybody kind of is working off the same information, and that's helpful to us.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Chief, at the last meeting, I raised this issue of overnight parking problems at Harvard and Rutgers. I forwarded you an email.
Yes, we've been issuing.
Okay.
Yes, we've been, so we've been issuing Harvard and Rutgers and,
okay.
So that's been on our list of our.
Okay, all right. And I got an email from someone on 44th Street that there seems to be some speeding that's going on. And there was a request if we could put one of the speed trailers there for a little bit, one of the speed signs. Paul Kittner is going to look at putting up making sure we have the 25 miles an hour there. But if you could just put that on your list as another street that we want to take a look at. You know, that's a cut through to avoid the light at Chancellor and Spring.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah, got it.
And then the CHS drop off. What we decided this morning is that we're going to put your personal cell number on all the correspondence, Chief. So if anyone has any trouble, they'll be calling you directly. Is that okay?
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So here's the plan. And
Yeah,
what we talked about this morning is we really have to make sure that engineering and police and DPW, that we're all on the same page. So Patrick, I think, is going to be working with Paul to call together a coordinating meeting of whoever we need to have. And I'm thinking also, Patrick, we might want to have the fire department there just so they know what's going on in case there's an emergency, just to know which way traffic is going to be coming that morning or afternoon. So particularly, Chief, there's a big concern about Beach and Prospect, that what's going to happen is this is going to be a difficult street to come out of and make a left towards South Orange, or even getting into the traffic to make a right. So in the beginning, maybe having an officer there. Of course, we have officers here. We're going to need coverage on Parker to make sure it doesn't, we don't have parking there. So there's quite a lot to do. And again, we just want to make sure that your team is on board and coordinating with everyone else. So that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, because this is being implemented on September 2nd.
Just to add to the Beach Street issue, some of the families have mentioned that they have kids that go to Delia Bolden and Clinton, and so they have an early start time that's around the same time as CHS. So part of their concern is being able to get out of their neighborhood to get their other kids, to get the kids to school.
And the other thing, Chief, is that this is going to be, we're going to operate this, for a 6-month
6 weeks.
trial run, and we're going to be making adjustments as we go along. So any observations that your officers see, we want that fed to Patrick so that we can make adjustments as we go along. And then we want to implement a final plan by Halloween.
Chief.
Anybody have anything else on that? You good, Chief?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you sunk in your chair. I thought maybe you fell down when you saw that map. Yeah, well, yeah. Goodbye, everybody. Boom. All right. So maybe, actually, I think, believe it or not, I think Kittner said to put his number on the flyer. He did. So good man. Okay. One quick thing, we got something from one of the members of the domestic violence resource team. It was a question about insurance coverage, and I want to raise this. The question is, are our volunteers, about 10 volunteers now, are they covered under our insurance? And when they go to South Orange to do work in South Orange, because they cover both towns, are they, what kind of insurance is covering them?
So, yeah, thank you for forwarding that to me. I mean, the short answer is in Maplewood, yes, they have coverage. We have coverage for our volunteers. I want to give the resident more information with our response, so we're getting that with our risk manager. I don't know personally the relationship with South Orange, and I expect that if it's not a joint service with them, right? I think it's organized together, right?
It's
So it's not a shared service.
It's not an official shared service, but yeah.
Without it being an official shared service, if it's just organized together, my expectation is that when they're in South Orange, they're covered as South Orange volunteers. When they're in Maplewood, they're covered as Maplewood volunteers. that's one thing that I'm not sure on. And if, no, I'm glad the question was asked because it may give us an opportunity to clarify between us and South Orange. So
Okay.
you'll have a response.
So will you take responsibility to get back to the resident?
Yep, absolutely.
I know the mayor responded too, I did, so if you could wrap that up, that would be good.
Yeah, and if I don't have a response this week, I'll at least let them know that it's forthcoming.
Sounds good. Anything more for the police?
Well, I just want to say, like, school is starting before our next meeting, so I know that PD and our public information officer are working on getting like a social media information out and about our crossing guards and stuff. But I just want to say to the crossing guards and everyone who works on back to school and all the traffic officers, like, go team.
Yeah, also, we're gonna, at the end of the year, we did those counts on those certain corners. We're gonna do that again in the beginning of the year just to see if the numbers are the same or if we get more kids walking through those locations. So we'll do that starting at the beginning of the year.
Great, thank you.
And while, thank you for bringing that up, on the crossing guards, we have a full complement.
We do, but some of them might not be starting right away. So we continually to hire people or looking for people because we do have alternates, like 2 extras. But I don't think all of them are starting due to maybe medical or something to that effect.
Okay. Great, thank you. Okay, Patrick, Office of Emergency Management.
Thank you. So a couple items. With the library now open, we will be using that as a cooling center. And in our most recent communication, when we had some high heat days 2 weeks ago, we had included that information with what we put out to the public. We'll also be updating our EOP with that information as a cooling center. It gets provided to the county because they put out a list. We'll maintain the setup we have for the police department for shelter services. So anytime that the cooling center is not, or anytime the library is not open, and this will apply for both Hilton Library and the main branch of the library. Anytime they're not open and someone is in need of shelter, they can continue to report to the police department. And when necessary, we can open up a shelter at the Hart Community Center. So, that's good news. It's nice to have a cooling center where there's more going on. It's more comfortable, and I hope that it's more used because we've seen that when we put out notice to the public about the cooling center, the police department, and the opportunity to open up a shelter at the Hart, we don't have residents who have taken us up on that. So hopefully we get more residents who take us up on the cooling center at the libraries. We had any questions on that one? All right. We had a storm a couple weeks ago. July 31st was a planned heavy rain event. It turned out to not be as dire as was forecasted for us. And looking at the radar, it kind of split around us a little bit. We saw, very high water levels in our rivers, and most of that was due to rain upstream from us. That was very heavy, and we had some, heavy rains here, but nothing to where we saw localized flooding that was forecasted. So that was, fortunate that it averted us, but it gave us an opportunity to talk with PD and FD and everybody about, what our swift water rescue capabilities are. So for that day, we had swift water rescue teams from FD who are regularly trained, regularly staffed. So, on any given ship, they're generally available, and we had those available and ready on that day. We also have a police sergeant who was trained with SEFD on swift water rescue, and that sergeant was available that day and, had all their equipment. And they were, eager and willing. And so that's, great that they have that training and have that enthusiasm for it. We'd put out public communications. I think it worked generally well for that. And thankfully we didn't have any, it turned out to not be what they had forecasted. Speaking of weather, we've got Hurricane Erin, who is forecasted to be a Category 3 hurricane. Right now, low probability of it making landfall on the East Coast, but we'll keep a track on that. It would be late in the weekend, early next week. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And lastly, we met with the Maplewood Middle School staff on their evacuation plan now that the Memorial Library is open and they have an opportunity to use the Memorial Library as one of their evacuation sites should they need to leave MMS. We, have some experience with what happened with the gas leak within the last year and a half. And so, we had good discussions about that. And I think those will be ongoing discussions on kind of how that can improve. And we also have a new school safety director who's starting soon, not yet announced by the school district, but when they are, we'll have an opportunity to meet that person with the police department and with OEM. So look forward to that new relationship. That's all from OEM.
And Patrick, there's something came in while you were gone from the county. And I don't know if I have it here. Let's see, maybe I do. It's a READY program. Do you remember seeing that? Register Ready?
I do. They have they're transitioning from an old system to a new system.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
This is for folks so that our emergency management folks know folks who are in need, who can't get out of their house, who, have mobility issues, who need power if there's, to run medical equipment. So I assume we're going to be pushing that information out so people can register.
Yeah, and right now the health department is usually the one pushing that out. So I provided that information to Ms. Davenport, our health officer, and she's going to start using that. They're rolling over the old information into the new system. So if it was there, it continues to exist in the new system. We just want to make sure that any new people who are register in that new system.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
Vic, could I just ask?
Yep.
Was there any result from the storms that went through this evening? Because my hair was straight this morning and
Any this evening? Straight hair.
It was a lot of lightning for a little while and it sounded close, but we didn't get, at least I didn't get any notification from the police department or the fire department that anything was happening. So I don't expect there was.
I know there's power outages by the pool, and I heard there's a live wire on Newark Way.
Okay.
Which is a good time to thank the
Yeah, we all know that live wire on Newark Way.
Yes, no, a different one. I saw a video.
Oh, okay.
More dangerous one, Vic.
They were waiting for emergency was on the scene. They were waiting for PSC&G because they can't manage those.
It was a beautiful rainbow, by the way.
Oh, I missed the rainbow.
Really great rainbow.
So with the power outage, I'll follow up on the power
on Boyden Parkway. I know because my friend's texting me from over there asking if
There was it flashed on and off here. So but I have a solar generator, so I don't know if there was outages. It just mine went on and off real quick.
And I'm not off over here.
I'll take a look at the numbers there and see, if we have an opportunity, given that it's very hot tonight, to open up a shelter where people don't have access to air conditioning, we can do that. And we encourage anybody to go to the police station if they need cooling.
I lost power too. 2 hours today.
I don't want to hear about it.
You mean when you took a nap on the beach, that's losing power, right?
No,
Power
I
down.
have power
We
out.
do not feel sorry for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Try not to speak.
All right. We're going to move to SEFD. So all 5 firefighters have now gone through the fire academy, our new firefighters, and have been certified EMT. So we're going to invite them to say hello to the Township Committee on September 2nd. And I'll work with the clerk's office on making sure and the chief to make sure that happens. Again, this is the most diverse pool of new recruits for the fire department ever, in both fire departments ever. So I think you'll be happy. Here are the first 6 months of responses, incidents by the SEFD. It's pretty close, almost 2,500. Again, EMS by far is what's driving it, nearly 45%. And then, luckily the fires are low. And a lot of these fires actually are fires that are fought out of town. So, I think, again, we want to have as few fires in town as possible. And I did add this false alarms, false calls, because that is a growing concern. And I believe we heard from the fire official trying to do some coordination on that and getting some of these alarms to be in better working conditions at some of these private concerns. Any questions on SCFD? If not, we'll move to the Community Board on Police. And if you can move over our liaison. One of two last standing or last sitting.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, how you doing?
Okay, currently in the dark. Been out
Oh, you
of
have no
power
power?
for like at least 30 minutes now.
You're okay.
I
So,
was
okay.
I'm
All right.
Jacoby
Right.
area.
Yep.
So I did have some updates written down. So right now, the Community Board on Policing is working with DC Malloy on getting regular reporting together, starting with the use of force as well as the internal affairs complaints, the social work traffic. Additionally, the civilian complaints and use of force reviews. I think we're currently working on a MOU, which is almost complete, and we'll be sending that to the department soon for review. And that's pretty much the updates.
Did you hear anything tonight that you had questions
questions?
about or any input you'd like to give?
Oh no, I thought tonight was very interesting though. I wrote some notes on some of the public comment at the beginning. Those were really great thoughts from the public that I will share with the board. But just as a member of the community, I'm really interested in some of the solutions, specifically regarding the permits for parking overnight. I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any questions?
I don't have any at this time.
No, anyone else?
No,
Oh,
I do.
for
Yeah.
me.
I
No,
even
I'm sorry. Your hand's up, Nancy. Go ahead.
raised my little yellow hand.
Yes. Well,
So at National Night Out, I think it was you and I, Chief, right? We were talking about, I think it would be great for the Community Board of Police to have like a table at that.
Yes, we do too. Our plan is to be at a lot more community events. Actually, the community engagement sector, if you will, focuses on that. But what we do is we put a list of events together and we give it to the board and we ask them to volunteer for one or two. We did not get very many people interested in coming as volunteers, at least for National Night Out. I believe few of us kind of like popped in and popped out, but to dedicate the time to actually sit through the event with at the table, we did not get very many interested members to do that this year. And the same is true for all the other events. We try to get volunteers to attend, sit at the table, give out information about what the board does, and if there's any available positions or any current things that we're working on to share it with the community. But we just didn't get very many volunteers for National Night Out this year.
I think if you could even get a couple to, it's not that long an event and it's fun. And I think it would be nice to, it would actually generate like some volunteers for the Community Board of Police, like, and give a presence. It just seems like a perfect event to do that. So the chief and I talked about that. So I just wanted to bring it here. So.
Yes, thank you for that feedback, Dean. I think you're going to say something.
Dean's got his hand up.
I sure am, never shy, as everyone knows. So, Kinsia, when is our next meeting? Do you remember offhand? It doesn't matter. Don't look it up. But, I'm going to make a big
Yeah.
stink about our not having any representation at National Night Out. Our charter talks about one of the missions of our board is to, and we've forgotten this along the way, one of the missions of our board is to build relationships between the community and the police. And I can't tell you where else during the calendar year, at what other event, you're going to have people coming up to talk to police and about policing in town than National Night Out. It makes no sense to me that we were not there. There wasn't one person who could show up for an hour. I mean, the rest of us on this call have 2 and 3 full-time jobs. And I'm running around, driving around the state of New Jersey in all kinds of weather. And I made it there for 45 minutes and took some pictures and
Right.
showed some solidarity. I mean, we
So
got
I think I think we have to be careful. We're not dumping on the messenger here. I think.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm just saying, can see, I'm not dumping on you.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'll
saying
take
that.
it.
No. I'm not dumping on you, and I'm sorry.
Community
But
engagement.
I'm just saying, like, this is not a good thing. Like, we need to be at these community events. People are not going to want to be talking about policing at Maplewood Stock or at Pride. Okay. So let's get out there, especially National Night Out. I'm going to make a big stink about it at the next meeting. Also, I think some of the questions that if I may suggest as your liaison to the board, again, going to the board's mission, some of the stuff that you heard about tonight is really interesting from a data perspective. You heard about increased enforcement. What does that look like? Where is it in town? For what kinds of things, right? Like, why isn't the board sort of interfacing and rolling up their sleeves to ask these critical questions? Because this is, again, why we have this board. Anyway, more to come at the board meeting next, but I'm glad you're here to hear it.
Yes, thank you. Last year, I can say last year I did go to National Night Out. And I was working it. And I came with my shirt, but I didn't have an official table. And it was just kind of me getting a lay of the land. It almost didn't feel like we had a place because everybody was busy doing different things. I don't know where they would have stopped at the table to see us. But there were places where we could have had tables because I saw that there were other tables. But I think this is something that we can go back over again, and hopefully we get more volunteers. Not to defend everybody, but yes, everybody has 2 and 3 jobs, but we wanted to make sure that we weren't overextending anybody for, the sake of burnout. So we did give them the option of choosing events. We didn't force anybody to attend certain events. So we'll kind of highlight this one more going forward. So thank you for your feedback, everybody.
Okay. Thank you very much for jumping on.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Okay.
Hope you get your power back soon.
All right. Next up, we have this parking thing that I sent out, the municipal parking service, the safety stick. And I have a little video. Let's see if I can share this and make it work. Let me just show this. I don't know who had a chance to look at it, if anyone, but.
How can your city improve parking behavior? Illegal parking is an ever-growing concern for public safety. In 2021, over 7,000 pedestrians were killed on public streets. But what if we could improve public safety through enforcement and parking behavior? The patented MPS Solar Safety Stick with 24/7 automatic enforcement and solar-powered HD cameras can easily be installed in no parking zones with a few bolts. Zones include fire hydrants, bus lanes, bike lanes, and other important parking zones. The solar-powered HD camera captures when a parker enters and exits an illegal parking zone with radar vehicle detection technology. All information is then sent to your enforcement personnel for easy approval. Once approved, the citation is issued by mail to the parker. Reduce illegal parking and increase public safety for your municipality, all with no upfront costs. This is a zero-cost solution. MPS handles maintenance and citation distribution in exchange for a small software licensing fee. NPS Solutions is dedicated to safer streets and safer cities with smarter solutions.
I like that background music.
Yeah, you should have that on all the time.
Yeah, I think so. So I, for some reason, they sent me a packet back. I don't even remember when. Maybe it was after the league. I don't even know. And then there was an article in the newspaper about a lot of towns in New Jersey who have adopted this. Smaller towns. I mean, this was sort of a bigger city that we saw in the video, but a lot of the towns like us, some in Bergen County, Morris County. And I guess I wanted to just put it out here to see if we wanted to have these folks come in and just talk a little bit more with us about what this is and what applicability it might have in Maplewood and what even the cost is.
Yeah, what did it say? It said 0 fees up front, but then she said something else.
You pay for software.
Oh.
I'm sure you pay for it one way or the other.
Yeah, I know. I was curious what the.
Yeah.
Vic, I can double check, but they did try it, I want to say like a year and a half ago or so in downtown Summit and did not implement it. It wasn't real successful. Maybe they've cleaned up the glitches. I think there were some glitches with regard to ticketing incorrectly or not, like the amount of time somebody was illegally parked was too short or something. I can't really remember. I just remember they were talking about implementing it throughout the downtown and ended up not using it, but it might be better now. I mean, I'm not opposed to having somebody come in. It's mostly for illegal parking, not as opposed to like metered parking or time.
Correct.
It's for like the stripe zones or places where people are too close to a corner or a crosswalk, things like that.
And we have some of those that, we have problems with.
Right.
Yeah, it's not at all it should not be used for any kind of time limit parking.
Right.
It's really no parking. Patrick, have you heard about this or have any, you?
Yep, heard about it. I haven't seen it used.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where in the state it has been used.
Yeah, I saw online, they did a webinar in New Jersey, which I'm going to take a look at, but they did a webinar specifically for Jersey. Do people think it's worth reaching out and having them come in and at least start a conversation, see what they can offer?
Where do we think that we might use this? Because I'm just trying to think.
Well, maybe in front of the high school and the bike lane. No, seriously.
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
But then, I thought, I was thinking more about like, where do we have no parking zones? And other than like, we're not going to put one at every fire hydrant, so like,
No.
like a general no parking zone. I'm just trying to picture like where we might, be working.
The yellow stripe,
In the village and on Springfield Avenue, we have a lot of those areas that are difficult to enforce because they could be like quick drop-offs for businesses or residents just trying to hop in and out. I think those are good. If we were to use it anywhere, I think that would be the first place to look.
I mean, I can reach out to the parking services in Summit. The director who was there when this was implemented as a trial is no longer there, but I think the woman who replaced her was under her, so she might have some information if you want me to ask.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I think we could be guided by what some other towns do. They talk. We don't really have bus lanes. We do have some bus lanes. People do park in bus stops, which become a problem because buses can't pull over then, and then it jams up the traffic, things like that. But I think we can be guided by them. And this is there's no commitment. It's just sort of an exploratory effort.
Yeah, I'm interested.
All right. Anybody object? Okay. Let's see what they can do. And then Nancy, if you can get any information, that would be good.
Putting it on my calendar.
All right. All right. We're going to move now to the second public comment. Would anyone, let's see how we got some people here. Is there anyone still on attendees who would like to speak to the Public Safety Committee? If you do, please raise your hand.
Vic, do you have the name of that company off the top of your head?
MPS Solar Safety Stick.
M as in Mary?
Yeah, Mary, Peter, Sam. We have a Dewey wants to speak.
Oops.
Dewey, if you'd like to speak, I can promote you to panelist now. You'll have to accept moving over to panelist. Welcome, Dewey. You're muted if you'd like to unmute yourself. Dewey, you're muted if you'd like to unmute yourself. Oh, I see another Dewey in the raising his hand in the attendee side. So let me move this Dewey over. All right, let's try this again. Nope, now we got a couple Deweys.
Hello, my microphone is working now.
Oh, good. We can hear you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay,
No.
we'll close that public comment period.
You know, we've never had that happen, right?
No.
In all of our Zooms ever.
Yeah. Chief, any need to go into executive session?
You're muted, Chief.
You're muted.
I got one thing, nothing major.
Okay, then we're now going to move by motion to go into executive session. This will close the public meeting. And then we'll, at the end of executive session, we'll come back out into the open session. We will adjourn. No business will be taken in the executive session. So I need a motion to go into closed.
I move that we go into close.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. And Patrick, you'll let us know when we're set.
Yep, hold on. And can see I'll be kicking you out, so take care.